Growing risks online make us all vulnerable to breaches in the security that we face every day on our phones, on our PCs, on our tablets. Mike Reid is the Chief Executive of Falanx, a cybersecurity company. Mike, welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's interesting talking to you about this because clearly we all need, I think, really to up our security. I think that's fair to say. This is where Falanx comes in.
Definitely.
Explain a bit more about what it is you do in connection with everybody's everyday needs in online security.
Certainly. We first of all really focus on the small to medium sized businesses. We have got government departments that we look after, but mainly it's the small to medium sized businesses, which is pretty underserved. And the real main four things we do. The first thing is what I call assessment. So we will work with our customers to see if we can do some penetration testing, ethical hacking you could call it, see if we can get in through the websites and find any gaps, and we'll give them a report, say these are the problems, you need to get patches. The second bit is an element of professional services, so we do consultation, GDPR is an example, but we also might do some awareness training to help people with their security needs. The third bit is the monitoring bit, and the monitoring bit's the exciting bit because that's done 24/7. We will watch what's going on in your organisation. I love it because it's got recurring revenue, and recurring revenue earns money while I sleep. The others are all one-off contracts, good margins, and the margins are different. So we're 30% on those first two, but we can get up to 50-60% on our monitoring. It's monitored in Birmingham, so it's London-based, and the technology and the people are all in the UK. That's why we do government.
Yeah. So you're just organisations. You're not individual security.
We don't do it's all for businesses. It's all business related. It's just certainly for businesses. Yeah.
It's been a good year, hasn't it, for you? In fact, it includes this GDPR thing, which has come in. Which of course has made us all more aware, and of course every time you log into a new website you're always asked whether or not you want to release your details and so forth. But going back to how this year has developed for you, give us some highlights.
Yeah, the main highlights are that last year we did about 3 million in revenue. If you look at our year end is the end of March. This year we've quadrupled the number of customers on our cybersecurity side, so we've gone up from around 70 to over 300. Now some of that's through acquisition, I must admit, but it's still growing nicely. We've focused a lot on partnerships. People buy security from somebody they trust. If I knocked on your door and said I'm the cybersecurity man, you might tell me not to come in. But if I did it through a partner that you're already buying from, then you will let me in the door because they will recommend me and say, please talk to Mike. And so we do partners. Now the exciting bit for us is currently we have, until a week ago, we had 7 partners. We have now, through a deal that I've just done in Phoenix, literally days ago, we've now got access to around 1,000 of partners who each could have 50 to 100 clients. And that will significantly transform our business. We're at the early stages. I've just signed all the agreements. The partner is a company called SolarWinds, 1 or 2 billion revenue. They've picked one cybersecurity company in the UK, and it is Falanx. And they've got one in the US, who is our partner as well. So we are now communicating with them on, if you're multinational, we can look after you wherever you need to be. Transform.
So when you're talking about the number of customers at the beginning, 400, 300 or whatever, that is one of those, is it?
Yes, so now all
of a sudden this opens up a massive new network for you.
I don't even know the number of noughts on the end. So, I mean, that might sound silly because there are 1,000 and each of those could have 50 to 100. Now,
how does a company your size cope with this extra business?
Well, it'll never come in on day one like turning a switch. So, and we're in discussions with the SolarWinds people on their technology. They will put the technology in because they're trusted. Their partner will work with us and we will then take on the security bit. You could ask, why doesn't the partner take on the security bit? Well, we spent £2 million building the security bit and these partners don't want to do that. So it'll be a slow ramp, and as we go through that, I will announce as we go forward. All the research that's out there have assumed 0 at this point in time because it was only announced a few days ago.
Right.
And once we start getting some traction, we'll make sure we communicate that to our shareholders.
In terms of time, how long do you think it's going to take before people wake up to this idea? In fact, you know potentially what the size of the business is. We have already, as a result of our meetings last week, we are meeting people on Monday and Friday next week who want to talk to us. So, how much business will that turn into? I don't know. All I can say is there is a lot of interest. I can tell you our US partner
it was because it was a US event, obviously. They had 68 inquiries in one day. And that's 68 of these people who aggregate. So that's 68, you could put another 100, they could each have 100 customers. So they got a lot of business. We've got 2 that we're going to follow up in the next week, and I will, we'll see how that turns out.
So when you get paid for this, what is it you have to perform to give them the protection they need, and then you get paid? What's the business model around this?
It's a very simple business model. And this is, I'm just talking monitoring here. The technology will come from SolarWinds, so it goes through the managed service provider that's got many customers, and will go straight into the customer's network and sit on their email server, their firewall. That will collect millions of logs. Every bit of data going through there will come out and is pointed to us. We've got some clever machines and we've got some very clever people who then manipulate that, and we look for the abnormal in this big mess of data. And when we see the abnormal, we will then contact the managed service provider and say, look, company A, this looks like it's unusual. And we have a sort of set of rules, and they set the rules to say what is unusual. And if it breaks the rule, we're on the phone, we're email, we're 24/7, we contact the managed service provider who talks to the customer to say, did you realise that this is happening? And then together we can work with them and resolve it.
And then they pay you?
No, they pay me monthly.
Oh, they pay you, pay you monthly?
Monthly, so it's a recurring revenue.
Okay.
The SolarWinds get their money, I get my money monthly.
Did it cost Falanx any money to get this business?
Absolutely nothing.
That's a pretty good business model.
Yes, it's an outstanding business model. Why? You may ask why. Okay, so that would be a good question. Two main things. First of all, we have been working with a technology partner that they purchased and had been providing services in the UK via that technology. They bought the technology, and therefore they then had to decide how do they this is SolarWinds buying the technology, how do they do it in the UK? They did a lot of research on our company. As I said to you, we do governments, we do a lot of large businesses. They did some research and said, Falanx is our partner, and it's our the only partner in the UK. They could have gone to any, but they trusted us, and we had a good rapport with the company that got sold to them, so that helped as well. It's relationships in that.
Do you have any milestones you've got to reach and to meet along the way for them to ensure that you were indeed the right choice?
No. So a good part of the deal. Lots of discussions during the week I've had with them on what is it they want from us. They just want to sell these licenses and want us to look after the data that comes out of it, and we will go at whatever speed. If let's just make the assumption there was 100,000 next Friday, I expect they might say, Mike, you might need some help. But at the moment they say, we're going to take this slowly. They always have. You look at SolarWinds, been around for many years. They always put their products out slowly. They like to test it. They like to automate it. So it's going to be a nice, steady ramp. This time next year, if I'm sitting opposite you, we can have a discussion on, I expect I have a few more grey hairs.
Have you not asked the question why they're outsourcing this? Are they doing it because in reality there's actually not much money in it?
No, it's nearly the opposite to that. The margins are very good.
So why don't they want to get involved?
Because SolarWinds don't do services.
Right.
Okay, their CEO, so I understand, I haven't seen him but met him, but my understanding from the people I met is, he does not do services. The MSP, you might ask, why doesn't the MSP, this person that fits there, why don't they do it? Well, it costs you £2 million to build a SOC, and there's a huge shortage of resource. We're up and running, we've got the teams, we've been doing it, we've been monitoring this technology. It literally is, they could call our SOC guys and myself tomorrow, and we would start on Monday. No one else could ever get it.
What sort of companies are coming to you for some sort of protection and monitoring and so forth? What sort of companies need your services?
Well, everybody does. Because what's happened is it's moved. Everybody thought it was the banks and people were after money from this. It's completely moved. Okay, it's moved now. The organised crime people are looking for lots of other things. So we look at what threat actors are going to attack you. Is it a local government, or is it overseas governments? There's lots of stories about that in the press. Is it organised crime, and are they trying to get in? Now you could be quite a small business with a little bit of intellectual property that is useful to somebody, and they will come in and take that bit of intellectual property. It could be they came in for your cash. If you look at what happened with Butlins recently, they came in for the details of the individuals going on holiday. So they know when you're going on holiday, that's quite useful to a criminal. So it's moving down, and I think it's now about 58% of attacks are at the small to medium-sized businesses. It's moved from the big boys, and this is where we are. And that's why SolarWinds are so keen on it, because they know that's where it's going. It's a little bit, America's a little bit ahead, and they're saying to me, Mike, Falanx have got to get on this.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit more about your position in this growing market and where you see yourself going and the sort of size and business and turnover you want to achieve.
Yeah. There's a research note out, so we can, people can see, we can find that. Currently, this current year, if you just add up the sum of our parts, we get to about 6.1 million, and we, break even. The research note thinks we're going to put a bit of growth on that to 7.1 million and 200,000 profit. That ignores SolarWinds, and then it goes up quite steep after that. It's not quite a hockey stick, but this market is growing so fast, and it's a very fragmented market. There's lots of small players, and that's why last year I did some acquisitions to help build our scale. And if good companies come along in the future, I will certainly buy them if I can. And that's my background. I've done that in 2 other companies, so this is the third. Fragmented market, huge demand, ideal for a roll-up of companies.
Oh, you've already proved actually this can grow organically.
It grows organically, and what I learned last time I was running a CEO or name for Pipex and Host Europe, people always ask me about organic growth. They like the acquisitions because it gave you scale. Can you grow it, and can you cross-sell between it? And we're demonstrating that now.
And you can.
The model is the same. It's a simple model.
Okay. So SolarWinds isn't priced into the share price yet.
No.
What is priced in? What do investors look at, and what do they think about share price at the moment?
I say it's not priced in. I don't think it is, because I announced it. The share price went up a little bit and then drifted back. Right. So I guess any CEO sitting here in front of you would say.
So could that be scepticism about the deal and the success of the potential?
It could well be. It's maybe the research note has only just come out yesterday, so people may not have seen the numbers, and if they have seen the numbers, they may be saying, well, like the questions you're asking me, I'm unable to respond to them on chat rooms and all of that. Right. I need to talk to someone like yourself to explain that there's huge potential there. And that's, once what I hope to do is, when I've signed a few, and SolarWinds, I did press releases and things over in America yesterday, so I'm in a couple of the magazines coming out. So that will slowly come across, and people will see what's really going on, and hopefully, our share price will start to increase. Can never guarantee it, but I'm hopeful.
Market cap about 10 million.
10 million.
The company's about 5 years old. You've been there almost 3 years, haven't you?
Yeah.
Where do you see things in the next 2 or 3 years then? Where would you like to be? Presumably still at Falanx.
Yes, so no, definitely. And I joined as non-exec chairman 3 years ago because I'd done the roll-up before, and then last November, the shareholders, because we were buying companies, asked me if I would do the roll-up and be the CEO. So I said, sure. I just love doing this. I just want to keep growing it, and it'll grow automatically through organic growth. I want to do more acquisitions, and I'm just going to keep growing and growing. All the other companies I've got to 325 million. Strangely enough, the one in America I did like exactly the same. The one here was about the same amount. So when I get it around that time, we'll sit here and I'll say, well, now, and because I anticipate that all these fragmented markets come together, we get to medium size, eventually somebody comes along and tries to take us out. I mean, that's just life in this industry.
That was going to be my next question, actually, is how big do you have to get before you get taken over by one of the bigger players?
I don't think we know. All I can tell you is if they phoned me today, unless it was a ridiculous number, I wouldn't sell it.
Right.
Okay.
You have a duty to shareholders, of course, to consider something.
If anybody came and knocked on my door, I would certainly have to consider it. But it would have to be a pretty high number, because I know my shareholders and we've got some very loyal shareholders.
Well, I was going to say, what's the shareholder register like? Do you have any big?
Yes, we've got a couple of big investors in there. So we have Unicorn, who looks after a big chunk of it, and I own quite a bit of it actually now. So I have continued to, every time there's a fundraise, I put money in. So You know, I just keep piling the money.
Do you need much more money? I mean, as you go along,
we're running the business. We're fine. We're fine running the business. If we see acquisitions, then we'll come out.
You're not profitable as such yet, is that right?
We did our EBITDA positive in July.
Right.
And we're going through now. The research says at the year end we're about 200k EBITDA profitable, because we've still got some other bits in the company. Yeah. We don't need money to run the business. But
I look forward to seeing how the SolarWinds beds in for you.
I'd love to talk to you again as it goes forward.
Okay, all right. Well, Mike, thanks indeed for joining us.
Thank you
Mike
very much.
Reed, the chief there at Falanx, and it's all about cybersecurity.